In a cat-to-cat introduction, there's a pretty well-known process to introduce them. And it usually goes along the lines of you isolate all the cats into separate areas and then slowly introduce the cats to each other. While this is probably ideal to give all your cats the time to adjust, however, those of us that are living in one-room apartments or similar types of homes, that is frankly not possible. Bonjour everyone, it's me Kitten, and today it's finally time to show you guys step by step of how I introduce all of my kittens and cats in one room without doing the whole slow, traditional isolation, gradual introduction process. By now, all of my cats are very fond of each other. They're very good friends. They eat together, they play together, and at the end of the day, they sleep together as well. And I believe that's the key concept that every cat owner need to understand to have good, healthy inter-cat relationships is that everything that's fun and rewarding has to be done together. So let's dive into it right now. So you have a new cat or kitten coming. Before even starting the introduction process, I have written an extensive article on how to make the introduction process a lot easier in the description below. So if you read that to make sure to see if the new kitten or cat is a good fit for your home and your current resident cats. And then you can continue with these steps in this video. Another thing is that before anything takes place, we need to make sure that the new cat has everything that they need to have a smooth and easy transition into their new home. So on the screen right now, I'll put on this checklist and go through it and make sure that everything is in order before we go on with step 1. Now the first step is litter box placement. Now this is a very important step because this determines the zone in which the new cat is going to be released in. So it's recommended that the new cat's litter box is placed as far away from the resident cat's litter box as possible. I should mention that it's okay for resident cats to use this litter box, but make sure that it's in a spot where no cats can be ambushed and they have a good line of sight of whatever it is that might be approaching them while they use the litter box. Step 2 is to release the new kitten or cat. Put the cat carrier in the space or zone that you designated as their home base. The carrier they arrive in acts as their separate room or safe spot. Just unzip or open the carrier so that they're allowed to leave, but don't force them out. Just allow them their own time to leave their carrier and explore their new home or apartment of their own accord. Now this might take 15 minutes, this might take a couple of hours. If you think that they're in the carrier for too long, you can try to speed this up by having some toys around to tempt them or maybe a couple of snacks around the carrier. Never, however, put snacks or food inside the carrier. We want to have snacks to be the reward whenever a new milestone is reached, in this case coming out of the carrier. So if they do come out, you can feed them a couple of snacks. However, they might or might not eat it because they're still adjusting to this new environment. Step 3 is to just observe with a keen eye, watch all the interactions taking place because obviously by this point the resident cat or cats are going to come and check out who this newcomer is. Now here you really have to take notes because there are acceptable interactions and unacceptable interactions. And we really have to figure out and observe carefully what is the extent that the new cat and resident cat interactions will be. The interactions that are okay and acceptable are hissing, swatting, batting, small nips and bites, even growling and meowing. The interactions that you have to look out for are full-on cat fights with fur flying everywhere, blood being drawn, and a fight that is serious enough to cause injuries. Now this is quite unlikely, but if it does happen, I would separate the cats and then check them at the vet to see if there's any medical issues or health issues that you have to be aware of. If all the cats are acting within acceptable behaviors, then it's another milestone reached. We can now go ahead and start building these positive associations with each other. Step 4 is the play and distraction strategy. Now the key here is to take away focus from the new cat or kitten. The longer they are distracted by something else, the more the resident cat realizes that the new cat isn't anything to worry about. Now if you can imagine each cat having their own ring or zones of comfort. Right now the cats are quite new to each other, so they tend to want to stay quite far apart from each other. Here's a graphic so you can sort of visualize this. As we get closer, as the cats get closer to the red and orange zones, there's more of a chance for the cats to hiss or bat. What the play strategy is to guide the cats so that they forget about each other's comfort zones, so we can get closer and closer, play session by play session. So eventually, even if they cross into each other's red or orange zones, they're less likely to have a negative interaction. So, for example, on the first day at their new home, try to avoid having the cats cross into each other's yellow area. Now, it's expected that the first play session is going to be a bit muted because the cats are aware of each other's presence. All we need to do at this stage is to take their eyes away from each other and onto the toys. The cats don't even need to move. Now on the second and third day, now you can start approaching these boundary lines, preferably first the yellow zones, and then as you keep playing and having more and more sessions, you get closer and closer to the orange and red zones. So how do you control the cat's movements during these play sessions? Well, interactive toys such as wand toys, even laser toys, are really useful here. By the second or third day, they should be moving and trying to chase around these toys. Each time a cat crosses into a zone, you can push it a little bit further. So for example, if they cross into each other's yellow zone without hissing, you can go to their orange zones. If they cross into the orange zones without hissing, you can go into their red zones. But if they cross into their red zones and hiss, stop and then go back to the yellow zones, and you rinse and repeat that way. Now you can continue this until they can reach and cross into each other's red zones without hissing. Step 5. Snack time and mealtime strategy. Scheduled snack and mealtimes are other powerful tools to influence our cats' behaviors and associations. Food affects their relationship with everything in their environment. This includes people and their owners and between other cats as well. This is why I mentioned in the checklist to stop free feeding your cat, because a hungry cat is a cat that we can work with behaviorally. So remove any food or snacks that are accessible and out there in the open, and start scheduling meal times 3 times a day. Now on the first day, the cats probably don't want anything to do with each other. You're gonna feed them quite far apart on the first day, but as long as they can see each other while they're eating and they have a line of sight with each other, that's okay. In their next meal times, try to move their bowls closer together. And similar to the play strategy, we always want to keep pushing these boundaries, these comfort boundaries, each time we have our meals. Similarly, if a cat gets too close and they hiss at each other or walk away from their bowls, place it back where it was. You can try to push their boundaries the next mealtime. Continue to move their bowls together until they are eating side by side, or even better, from the same bowl. Step 6 is to repeat and combine the play strategy and mealtime strategy day by day. Your goal is to break past each barrier that each cat might have until finally there is no more negative interactions between any of them during playtime or mealtimes. Nothing feels better than seeing your cats getting along, playing, or sleeping together. Remember that every cat is different and some will take longer than others depending on their age, gender, and individual characteristics. The average length of time that it takes to do this type of introduction is about 3 to 5 days. My youngest cat, Loki, was introduced here in this apartment with 3 other resident cats, and it only took about 2 days. He was the fastest introduction that I've ever done. But maybe it's because I've had a lot of practice with my cats and helped a lot of other people's cats getting introduced as well. Now, the last thing is just to decide whether you want to remove that temporary litter box or just to place it with the other litter boxes. The new edition no longer needs to have a litter box far apart from other cats. For a guide on how many litter boxes to use with multiple cats in a one-room apartment or smaller living space, I'll include that article in the description as well. And that's it. This has been my guide on how to introduce cats without the slow and gradual separation isolation process. For more information, please visit my website at MrKitten.com. If you have any questions, you can leave a question in this comment or on my website itself. I'll be answering all of the questions on both platforms. If you like this video and it's helped you do your introductions in your home, please give this video a thumbs up, and thank you so very much. To help you guys even more, I included a free PDF that you can use to track your cat's progress with each other. Tracking your cat's progress will help you get an idea of what's happening and which boundaries to push during your introduction process. You can find this PDF in any of my article links down below, and share with me how long your introduction process takes in the comments or on my website.